Hello, everybody. Today we're going to have another episode. And today we're going to talk about deliveries, deadlines, and basically how to assure that you always deliver on time to your clients. And that's a very practical thing. And today's episode is going to be very short because actually I'm on a business trip right now and it's more about the small factories that supply to bigger ones. So let's move on and see my screen. As always, this is Andreas Letros, and welcome to my live. Struggling to keep up with the order deliveries, just with this. And here is how big companies evaluate the small suppliers. Basically, they have a list. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you to see. They have a list and they have the list of suppliers and they have two metrics, delivery and quality. And they sum them up and they have an overall. Each supplier that is below a certain number, is under 70 or under 60 or under 75, for consistently for a period of time for a year, for example, they decide that they are not going to hear from this supplier again. They're going to cut them from the list and they're going to keep up with the ones that have higher quality or higher delivery and higher overall score. So what happens is even if you have perfect quality, if you keep missing deliveries, you will get in the bottom, as you see the supplier D here. You may have quality 99, but if you have always late deliveries and if you always have deliver late and you miss the deadlines, you're gonna end up not working for the company anymore. And usually in these cases, there are no feelings. There are just data that are speaking. So we want to avoid this issue. And there are ways that you can improve your delivery. Okay. But most companies use some obvious ways that are going to hurt them in the long run. They have some reactive ways. What are those? Compromising quality. You don't scrap anything, you avoid the quality controls, and you keep up going quicker. Working overtime on weekends. This means that you are burning money, and if you keep doing it all the time, and you ask your operators to go to work every single weekend, you're gonna frustrate them, and nobody's gonna want to work with you anymore. And another thing is keep buying new equipment so you can go faster. But this is often very expensive, and in the beginning, it's gonna slow you down because you're gonna have a big ramp up. Instead of doing these reactive ways that have a lot of cost to to improve the delivery rate, you can use real-time production data to optimize your schedule and prevent late deliveries before they happen without having to compromise quality, burning costs, or exhausting your team. And this is, of course, what I'm going to show you today, how to do. And when you have no data from your production, your process looks like a black box. So you have the raw material, it enters in the process, and then it goes to the inventory. And the process is just a black box. And people think that the orders will follow the first in and first out, the FIFO. So order 23, then the order 24, and then the order 25. In practice, is a little bit different. In practice, there are so many reasons why an order can get delayed. For example, there can be lack of material. There are some machine breakdowns. There are high scrap rates. There are some organization decisions that don't allow us to work on some specific orders. Maybe some machines can be out of order and we need to go on backup. Or sometimes we don't have specific material to process a specific order, or a specific order may have high scrap rates, and so we need to order it again. And if you're not monitoring your orders live, very it's very hard to keep track and understand what's going on. Here I made a mistake. Uh, it's let me show you my screen again. So it's when you don't monitor your orders live, it's hard to it's easy. It's not hard to lose track of what's going on, especially if you have 30 or more machines. But if you monitor your orders live, the chances to miss a deadline is much lower because you know where to focus on. And imagine having something like this. So I have the three orders, and I know each order where it is in which machine it's going on. Let's say that I have 10 machines, and I know that the order 34 is in the cutting, and 35 is in the exhaust in the extrusion, and the order 36 is not started yet. And I know the delivery date. So I know that for 35 and 36, the delivery date is on November, so there is no problem, there is no rush. But for the order 34, it's in 20th of September in 3 days, and it's in the cutting. So the system tells me forget about anything else and just focus only on this 34 in the cutting that is in the cutting and just put all your effort in this. Try to to find material somewhere else. Try to postpone other work so that this goes ahead. And if I schedule my program knowing this information, it's hard to lose a deadline because I know my priorities and I don't give the same importance to every order, but I give importance to the orders that are ready to that are that they're more urgent. So when you have this level of visibility, prioritizing becomes simple and you know exactly which order needs attention, so you never miss a deadline. And the great thing is that you don't need to invest in expensive new equipment, you don't need to work on overtime, you don't need to work on weekends, you don't need to compromise on quality. You just need to to apply a very small system that helps you add data and control the data of your production. And usually, how it works. Usually, when a job finishes on a machine, the operator already writes down what they did, how much scrap they did, how many pieces, which quality checks they done, and when they finished. And so you already have this information. Or usually in small factories, the operators have a paper that they write all this information. So if you have a system that can register all those small data and someone can pass once a while and register those data from these papers, you can have this real-time visibility and you can forget about late deliveries ever again, basically. And once those numbers are stored in a database, you can turn them into a small dashboard or table that shows you the live status of every order on the shop floor and help you understand what are your priorities. And now I will show you how this can work. I will show you a real example from the real world and from a real application. So here I'll make my screen a little bit bigger. And so here is a little bit how it works. Let's say that there is a company that has one, one, three, four, five, six, seven, eight machines, and then they have to send the product to the inventory. There is an operator that goes once a while, and he clicks on every single of these machines, and it opens a form like that. A little bit because it offers a form like that, and he registers the data that are written on the paper. Then he goes to the next machine. And every time that a machine is stopping and every time the order is going through a new of these machines, he opens this form, he registers the data, and the data are stored in the database. And this is done all the time and it doesn't require a lot of effort to do that. Once they are in the database, then you can create simple tables like these ones that you see right now. Of course, since this is the real example, I cover the orders. Every single row is a different order, and it tells me that, for example, this order right now is on the cutting phase and has this percent of scrap, this cost, and this is the last update, and probably can have also the delivery date. If you have a list like that and you know how it works and you know everything that's happening, it's not very difficult to monitor your production. And the investment to have something like this is much smaller than buying new equipment or working always overtime and working on weekends. And of course, having something like this has obviously two different benefits. The first one is this one, that you can understand when you need to deliver, which is your status, and where to prioritize. The second one, though, is even if you are late, or even if you have clients that are a little bit pushing for answers and they need to find out where your orders are and they need it urgently, or maybe you are late anyways, you have the possibility to go on the system and filter, find where this order is, and tell them exactly the information and calculate on real time when your order is going to finish. And that's very invaluable. And this is a great service that you can give to your clients. So, as I told you, this was a very small episode right now. I focused a lot on the deliveries, on how to ensure that you have a quick delivery dates and you are not going to miss your deadlines. And as I told you, the bigger companies have two scores that they use to control their suppliers, the quality and the delivery. If you miss one of them, you can be substituted very easily, and the way to do it is not to do big investments and to not to stress over the deliveries in order to increase the speed of the whole production, but to work a little bit more smartly, collect the data, understand where each order is at, in which machine is at, and decide from there. Look at your table, look at your data, and understand which are your priorities and focus on there. Don't improve, don't speed up your production, don't work on weekends, don't work overtime, just focus on the one or two orders that are in the deadline, that are more urgent. And that's going to ensure that you're never going to miss deadlines anymore. And even if you miss the deadlines, and even if you have some difficulty to work on, at least you can go into the system, filter, understand when it's ordered at, and calculate on real time which is going to be your delivery date, which you cannot do if you don't have data and if you don't have visibility about what's happening on your software. So this is Andreas Letros. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. This is Andreas Letros. Thank you so much for watching me right now. Unfortunately, I had to do it very quickly, and see you in the next weekend. Bye bye.